Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Queen Agaba. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nigecomsat. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pati, says the training of 120,000 frontline health workers to improve healthcare service delivery in Nigeria has begun. Pati disclosed this at the opening ceremony of the 65th National Health Council NHC meeting 2024 in Maiduguri, Borno State. He says the training was aimed to strengthen the workers' capacity in critical service areas and accelerate improvement in the country's health outcomes in 37,000 primary healthcare facilities across the country. He promised to do a lot in other areas to help Nigerians dealing with the cost of care and affordability. The coordinator of the Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, Felix Obwa, has clarified the demand for the payment of 300,000 naira for the relocations of artisans from the Apo Mechanic Village to Wassa in the Federal Capital Territory. Obwa says the approved 300,000 naira sum was a non-refundable fee for land registration in the ongoing relocation exercise for traders on the road corridors in the area, adding that it was also to dissuade ghost names from making the application. The AMMC coordinator gave the update at a stakeholders meeting to update the traders on the enumeration exercise, proposed design and site plan, among other things. He, however, alleged that some dubious union leaders charged the artisans and mechanics up to 1 million naira for the relocation form, threatening to ensure that security agents arrest such persons falsely allocating lands to unsuspecting traders who were not on the road corridor, who are the original beneficiaries of the exercise. Obwa disclosed that so far 11,000 individuals have registered for the relocation exercise. The Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has set up a 12-member committee to recover all missing government vehicles under the administration of his predecessor, former Governor Godwin Obaseki. Inaugurating the committee, Governor Okpebholo gave the committee 2 weeks to deliver on its mandate and ensure that government vehicles in private hands are fully recovered and subsequently returned to the state government. The committee chairman, Kelly Okungbowa, assured that they will do justice to the assignment. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, says Nigerians will have to pay for the new multi-purpose national identity card due to limited government revenue. The NIMC head of card management services, Dr. Peter Iwegbu, said this during a 2-day roundtable event organized for online editors in Lagos. Iwegbu, who explained that the decision was made to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past effort to issue physical cards to Nigerians free, which many Nigerians did not collect. He added that the payment was to ensure that it was produced for only those who needed it. At least 3 persons have reportedly been killed in a renewed hostility between farmers and herders in Nasarawa and Toto local government areas of Nasarawa State. The State Commissioner of Police, Umar Nadada, confirmed the incident in Lafia, the state capital, explaining that the incident occurred in Dogonduse community, a neighborhood between Nasarawa and Toto local government areas. He says the police found 1 additional corpse in the bush during a search operation, bringing the number of deaths to 3, but stressed that normalcy has since been returned to the area. The police boss noted that the police would get to the root of the matter. He further maintained that the command was working in synergy with the community to ensure those responsible for the clash are arrested and brought to book, calling on residents to continue to support security agencies. The Supreme Court has nullified the National Lottery Act 2005 enacted by the National Assembly. In a unanimous judgment, a 7-member of the Apex Court held that the National Assembly lacked the powers to legislate on issues relating to lottery and games of chance. The court held that such powers only reside with the state houses of assembly, which possesses in exclusive jurisdiction over lottery and games of chance. In the lead judgment, Justice Mohammed Idris ordered that the National Lottery Act 2005 should no longer be enforced in all states except the Federal Capital Territory, in respect of which the National Assembly is empowered to make laws. The defense headquarters has confirmed the defense headquarters has confirmed the neutralization of notorious terrorist commander Munzu Yar'Adua in the Northeast. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, while addressing newsmen on the successes recorded across all theaters of operations, stated that casualties were recorded in the Northeast and Southeast during the week. Kike Lomokere has details.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says its troops have recorded significant achievements in their ongoing counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations across the country. He highlighted the elimination of key terrorist elements, the disruption of criminal networks, and the recovery of substantial assets.
Our troops at a checkpoint within the vicinity of that community were attacked, and the attack was unprovoked. We recorded some casualties. Indeed, we recorded 3 casualties. Some members of the community say that they have abandoned the location, thinking that troops will carry out, what did you call it? They will come there and just start killing everybody. I need to remind you that we are a professional force. That is not how we operate. Even as much as there will be consequences for the terror group that escalated that situation, our targets are not innocent Nigerians.
He also says the military primary objective remains the identification and destruction of terrorists and their collaborators wherever they may be hiding. He further explained that the Nigerian Air Force has also contributed significantly by conducting precise airstrikes on terrorist enclave to degrade their capabilities and neutralize threats.
We seek cooperation, not conflict. Okay? That's what we want. That is what our people want. That is what Nigeria wants. We want to increase the crude oil production of our nation.
Major General Buba emphasized that while the war against terrorism is challenging, the armed forces remain committed and prepared to ensure the safety and security of citizens. Kike Lomo Okeri reporting for Global Television News.
The defense headquarters has expressed excitement over the arrest of the factional leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Simon Ekpa, and 4 others by the government in Finland over terror-related activities. The DHQ hopes they would be repatriated to Nigeria to stand trial for the violence in the southeast. The reaction of DHQ to the arrest came as both the presidency and IPOB kept mum on the development. Recall that Simon Ekpa had on several occasions claimed responsibility for the Monday sit-at-home in the region and the killing of persons by those described as unknown gunmen. A local report in Finland says Ekpa was remanded in custody by the district court on suspicion of public incitement to commit a crime with terrorist intent. The National Board for Technical Education has called on polytechnics nationwide to prioritize equipping students with practical skills, emphasizing the need to shift away from an over-reliance on paper qualifications. This call was made by the Executive Secretary of the NBTE, Professor Idris Bugaje, during a one-day retreat for members of the National Assembly Committees on Higher Education and TED Fund in Abuja. In his remarks, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund, Muntari Dandute, echoed this sentiment, urging Nigerian polytechnics to adopt a skills-first approach. Drawing lessons from countries such as China, Dandute highlighted ongoing legislative efforts aimed at enhancing the capacities of polytechnics to foster industrial development. Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has distanced itself from Simon Ekpa, the self-acclaimed Prime Minister of Biafra government in exile, who was arrested in Finland alongside 4 others over terror-related activities. According to the Finnish police, Ekpa was arrested on suspicion of public incitement to commit a crime with terrorist intent, while the 4 others were arrested for financing a terrorist crime. In a statement, IPOB spokesman Ima Powerful accused Ekpa of recruiting violent criminals to destabilize the southeast region. IPOB also disowned Ekpa, stating that he has never been a registered member of the group. The Enugu state government has lauded the arrest of Simon Ekpa by Finnish authorities. It described Ekpa as a terrorist and criminal with no regard for the well-being of the Igbo people. A statement issued by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Chidiebere Onya, expressed the administration's readiness to present evidence against Ekpa, who the government accused of exploiting and destabilizing the southeast region. The Finland-based separatist was arrested and remanded in custody by a district court in Lati on charges of terrorism, a development that the state government believes will enhance peace and stability in the region. The Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, at the Ondo State-owned University of Medical Sciences, UNIMED, has accused the institution's management of financial recklessness. SANU alleges that the university's management allocated over 65 million naira for the 10th anniversary celebrations while neglecting pressing staff welfare issues. In a communique issued after a Congress meeting, SANU chairman, Comrade Oluwaseyi Abayomi, described the expenditure as insensitive amidst economic challenges, calling the university management to prioritize staff welfare over unnecessary spending. UNIMED spokesperson Isaac Oluyi, in response to the allegations, dismissed it as baseless, accusing the union of bypassing internal conflict resolution mechanisms. The 34 House of Representatives members who sponsored the bill to amend the 1999 Constitution to provide for a 6-year single term for the president have resolved to reintroduce the bill. Ikenga Ugochinyere says this in a statement in Abuja following the rejection of the bill on November 21st during plenary. The news reports that the bill sought the introduction of a 6-year single term for the president, governors, and local government chairmen. Also, that the bill sought zonal rotation of presidential and governorship seats, as well as holding all elections in one day. Ugochinyere, however, say that all hope is not lost on the bill as more consultations will be done. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has begun tracking of constituency and executive projects worth 41 billion naira. The ICPC Kano State Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Barrister Ibrahim Garba Kagara, says the objectives of the exercise is to ensure that execution of the project has been done faithfully and accordingly to specifications for the benefit of the citizens to cut down wastages and corruption. Barrister Kagara added that the Commission, in pursuing its mandate, would collaborate with other critical stakeholders, which include the media, Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Bureau of Public Procurement, and civil society organizations for the success of the tracking. He further stated that the Commission had chosen sectors that have a direct impact on the life of the citizens, which include education, health, agriculture, water, rural roads, power, and youth empowerment as a matter of priority. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has warned that paramilitary agencies are not for poverty alleviation, but a career of pride. Tunji-Ojo gave the warning during a summit in Abuja for high-ranking officers from the civil defense, correctional, fire, and immigration services. He says the summit was convened due to the realization of the most significant challenges coming from state controllers, and commandants. Tunji-Ojo says the federal government would not sacrifice the wishes of over 200 million Nigerians for egos or aspirations of a few personnel, adding that performance is what makes officers cross the hurdle. You're watching News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When News Cycle returns, Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry wants federal government on sustainability over fresh $2.2 billion borrowing. Details of this, as well as foreign and sports stories, coming right after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. If you've just joined us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Cycle. In business, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, has warned the federal government about debt sustainability issues if it goes ahead with the plan to borrow a fresh external loan of $2.2 billion. In a statement, the Director General of LCCI, Dr. Chinyere Almona, says the plan has caused some stir in the business community, driven by the current weak fundamentals in the economy. She recalled that LCCI had always advised against using only one debt financing options to fund budget deficit. The Bank of Industry, BOI, has garnered over $5 billion from the international capital market through Eurobonds, loan, syndications, and green finance instruments. Managing Director of the Development Finance Institution, Dr. Olasukbo Olushi, stated this at a press briefing heralding the bank's 65th year in operation. Olushi said the month BOI concluded a global loan syndication that raised nearly €2 billion, which according to him is the largest fundraising in BOI's history and indeed the largest syndication in the history of African DFIs. Olushi, who assumed the headship of bank about a year ago, went into memory lane to itemize the salient accomplishments that have laced the bank's trajectory since its establishment in 1959. On the foreign scene, Italy and Netherlands, Canada, and other countries have announced their intention to comply with arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The warrants issued by the ICC accused both men of war crimes and crimes against humanity during the ongoing war in Gaza. The court's charges include allegations of starvation, murder, persecution, and other inhumane acts. The conflict, which erupted after Hamas launched a cross-border attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, has resulted in significant loss of life. More than 44,000 Palestinians, many of them women and children, have been killed, and Gaza's 2.3 million residents have been left largely displaced, with many depending on humanitarian aid. The Director of Human Resource Management at the Rural Electrification Agency, Suleiman Bokwang, has been remanded in Kuje Correctional Center following his arraignment on charges of alleged money laundering involving 223.412 million naira. Bokwang was arraigned before a federal high court in Abuja by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on 5 counts of criminal diversion of funds and money laundering. The EFCC, in a statement on X, outlined the charges against Bokwang, one of which the EFCC alleged that Suleiman Garba Bokwang, while being the Director of Human Resource Management of the Rural Electrification Agency in July 2023 in Abuja, within the jurisdiction of the Honorable Court, indirectly converted the sum of 45 million naira, part of the money cumulatively paid to the bank accounts of Dami Gold Program, World Class Business, Green Haven Company, and the Sam Rose Base by consultants to REA. Russia's spokesman, Kremlin Dmitry Peskov, says the country is in need of migrants to develop because of its dwindling domestic workforce. Kremlin, who stated this in an interview with news agency RIA Novosti, says migrants are a necessity as Russia, though largest country in the world, does not have many people. Earlier this week, Russia's parliament approved legislation banning child-free propaganda, effectively outlawing any person or organization from encouraging others to not to have children. It was a move designed to help remedy a demographic crisis inherited from the Soviet era and which has worsened since the conflict in Ukraine. The Sierra Leonean High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Julius Sandy, has emphasized the critical need for African nations to unite in their advocacy for reforming the United Nations Security Council and in the collective pursuit of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. Speaking when members of the United Nations Association of Africa paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Abuja, the High Commissioner underscored the importance of African representation and voice within the Council. He said it is imperative that the African nations come together to advocate for reforms and reflect the diverse perspectives and address the unique challenges faced by the continent. Also, the Palestinian envoy to Nigeria, Abdallah Abu Shawesh, has expressed concerns about the United States' continuous veto against the United Nations Security Council's call for the end of the conflict in the Gaza Strip. Abdallah says the recent veto is a testament of the U.S. complicity in the murder of Palestinians in Gaza. He made this remark during a press briefing in the nation's capital, Abuja. The envoy also expressed confidence in the recent warrant of arrest issued by the International Criminal Court of Justice for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister for war crimes. He says the Palestinian people are expectant of the quick resolution of the conflict and the prosecution of those culpable for the carnage in the Gaza Strip. In sports, Ruben Amorim takes charge of Manchester United for the first time in a trip to Ipswich, while Manchester City is aiming to snap a historic losing streak for Pep Guardiola against Tottenham. Fourth takes on fifth in another of Saturday's eye-catching fixtures when Arsenal hopes to kickstart their faltering title challenge at home to Nottingham Forest. Manchester United fans have been made to wait 3 weeks for Ruben Amorim's arrival since he was confirmed as the successor to Erik ten Hag. Amorim has plenty of problems to solve at Old Trafford, but begins with United only 4 points adrift of the top 4 despite sitting down in 13th. The National Sports Commission has announced Enugu State as the host of the 23rd edition of the National Sports Festival in 2026. NSC Director General Bukola Olopade disclosed this in a statement in Abuja, saying that the decision was reached after a top management meeting of the NSC. According to him, the core city emerged from a competitive bidding process and the state is set to deliver a world-class event. The NSF, a biennial multi-sports event, brings together thousands of athletes from the 36 states and the FCT to celebrate sportsmanship, national unity, and sporting excellence. And that's it on the news cycle, and it came to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.